Good afternoon. Well, it's happened again, and it's going to continue to happen. 307 mass shootings. Shootings, not stabbings, not fistfights, shootings this year alone in the United States. When are we going to stop cuddling the mentally ill? To stop saying, oh, it's okay if you hear voices, if you're a nutcase, you can go buy a gun. You know, before this shooter, this latest monster was ever even identified, I could have given you a rundown about his life. Here's what did surprise me a little bit. He was a decorated Marine. And how sad am I to say that out loud, since my husband is also a decorated proud Marine. But see, my husband doesn't go out killing innocent people. This man was known to law enforcement. I could have told you that before he was even identified. He told them, I have PTSD because I was in the military. Guess what? We don't have a draft in this country. He volunteered to go into the military. He was a decorated Marine. He got PTSD. And you know what? Shame on the military for letting him loose on this community if they knew he had PTSD. But the police were called to his house last year. And he told them right out, I've got PTSD. And they did their little questions and answers, and here, what do you see in this ink blot test? And they said, okay, you're fine. And he went and he bought a gun legally, because you're not allowed to discriminate against anybody who has a disability. When it comes to the Second Bloody Amendment, which seems to be the most important of them all, and yet it is the one that has killed more innocent people in the last 20 years than any other amendment. You worry about abortion rights. The Second Amendment has killed more American innocent human beings than abortions ever have. Whatever you believe about an abortion. You know what? I've never seen it said in any part of the Constitution, First Amendment, Second Amendment. I never heard our founding fathers say, you have a right to buy guns to kill innocent people. No, that's not what the Second Amendment says. The Second Amendment says you have the right to bear arms to defend yourself and your family from harm. Not to walk into a bar where a bunch of college kids are trying to have a nice time and murder them in cold blood. Or to go check into a hotel room and shoot strangers you've never even met because you're pissed off at the world when they're trying to enjoy a concert. The Second Amendment doesn't say you can buy guns and walk into a church or a synagogue and shoot people while they're praying. People you don't even know. Just because you're pissed off because your life ain't going so good. Or because you have a disease. You know what? I go to the eye doctor tomorrow and he tells me that I'm like legally blind. I can't get a driver's license to drive a car. Why? Because I might harm somebody. Why then are we so afraid to tell mentally ill people that we know are mentally ill, not a good idea, not getting a gun? Why does a mentally ill person need a gun? Why can't their families do something? We hear from the families all the time. We tried. We knew he was a sick bastard. We couldn't do anything. They wouldn't let us. He's an adult. Why can't we put these people in a place where they can't harm innocent people? Because you know what? That motherfucker's right to buy a gun, his Second Amendment, just took away the Bill of Rights from 11 innocent teenagers, young people, ruined their families for the rest of their lives, and took the life of a dedicated hero sheriff sergeant. 1 year from retirement, with a wife and a son. He's dead. Because of this son of a bitch's Second Amendment. And the fact that he had PTSD and the military said, oh well, join the club. We're not going to help you. Go back to your life. You'll get over it. Shame on the military. Shame on anybody who gets a call to someone who is mentally ill and doesn't check to see if they have legally owned firearms? That they could be a danger to the community? How many crazy people are walking around Lancaster, Pennsylvania right now? Is it safe for me to go out to a restaurant or a bar or walk down the street or go to church? I don't know, because see, we're not allowed to hurt their feelings. We don't want to discriminate against the mentally ill by telling them they can't buy a gun. Well, hell, you're allowed to discriminate against gay people when they want to buy a wedding cake. Why is it okay to hurt a gay couple's feelings by saying, I ain't making you no cake because I don't like gay people. My church says you're all going to hell. I can't bake you a cake. Baking that cake wouldn't kill anybody. That's okay. It's okay to insult and discriminate against a gay couple who just wants a cake in a bakery. But it is not okay to take guns away from nutcases, from crazy people, from people who say, I'm crazy. I have an illness. I mean, come on, people. Yes, am I angry? You're damn right I'm angry. Because I'm sick of it. I'm sick of turning on my TV every day, just about, and crying for strangers who have lost their family members. And what crime did these people commit? They went to a bar on a Wednesday night to dance. They went to church to pray. They went to a concert in Vegas. They went to work. They went to school. And they're dead. And the people who killed them, for the most part, are dead too. You know why? Because they're fucking cowards. This son of a bitch wanted to commit suicide. I wish he had just committed suicide already. Then he would have had an honorable burial. Oh, the poor dude, he had PTSD. He killed himself. What a shame. But he took 12 innocent people with him. Now he's a monster. And those who allowed him loose in that community, they're monsters too. And they're to blame. And I hope the families will, after they get over their grief, start calling their lawyers. Because we hear it too many times. As I told you before, the second I turned on the TV this morning, I got up at 5:30. It was on the news. And I said, I'll tell you right now, Jason, we're going to find out that this guy, they knew who he was. The police knew him. He's some kind of nutcase. He got his gun legally. And lo and behold, here we go. I did not expect the Marine part. But that doesn't surprise me either. You know, we recruit these young men and women. We send them to these shitholes. And when they come back stateside, we just say, okay, thanks for your service. Here's your payout. Go. If you think when you join the military they're sending you to college, bullshit, they're not sending you to college. They'll send you to night school. They won't pay your apartment rent. They won't pay your medical bills. They won't pay anything. And try to get into a VA hospital. It ain't that easy. You got to basically kill someone else or try to kill yourself and live, and then you get into the VA. So shame on the military for not stepping up and recognizing that they turned this person into what he became last night and did nothing to stop it. Oh, and by the way, let's sell him guns. You know, there's a lot of things that people aren't allowed to do. We have drinking age in this country. And yet we say, well, kids drink. Kids will find a way to get alcohol. Well, let's do away with the drinking age then. Because isn't that what we say about the gun laws? Oh, we can make as many laws as we want. But mostly Republicans say, oh, bad guys will always find a way. Criminals will always find a way to get a gun. Well, then, okay, let's go. Cocaine's legal, heroin's legal, because cocaine and heroin addicts will always find a way to get cocaine and heroin, right? So why do we need it to be illegal? Why should we have laws about it? Drinking age, smoking, you can't smoke till you're 18. Kids know how to get cigarettes. They're going to get them if they want them. So let's just get rid of those laws too. It'll give the cops some downtime where they don't have to prosecute these stupid crimes that end up with misdemeanors and community service. I mean, if we're going to let crazy people buy guns and kill innocent people, then we might as well just let 16-year-olds buy a case of beer and 12-year-olds buy a carton of cigarettes. Because after all, we can't enforce the law anyway. So why make it more enforcive, more egregious, where if you are a nutcase, if you have had a mental health issue, you don't get to buy a gun. People will say, well, they'll use knives. Yeah, how many people do you think would have been killed in that bar last night if this crazy guy had had a knife? They might have been hurt, but they wouldn't have been dead. Because as soon as that brave sergeant walked in with his gun, which he is legally licensed to carry and is sane enough to know how to use, that dude would have been down. I don't believe anybody would have died last night if this crazy ass would have had just a knife instead of a gun. Oh, and by the way, it wasn't just any gun. I actually asked my husband this. I said, how can a handgun become an automatic weapon? And he told me how. Yes, see, my husband knows that. You're really all lucky that my husband isn't crazy. But you can turn a handgun into an automatic weapon. And this guy knew how to do it. The U.S. government taught him how to do that. The military, the Marines. And you know, I love me my Marines. I married one. But this is very sad. This man, 28 years old, obviously wanted to serve his country. He did serve his country, and something happened to him in that shithole, which wouldn't have happened to him, by the way, if he was just standing a post on the Mexican border protecting our country from the caravan. But something happened to him, and nobody noticed. Even when he said out loud, I have PTSD. They're like, well, you know, they did a little exam. They said, you seem okay to us. Just, stay out of trouble. Have a good day. Bye. Less than a year later, 12 people are dead. Because they dropped the ball. The military dropped the ball. The people who responded to his home when he told them, I'm sick, dropped the ball. Maybe we need to change the laws too, because we always hear the parents go, I wanted to get my child help, but they're an adult, there's nothing I can do. Maybe we should fix that. That if your child is a threat to the community, if he's going to walk into a bar and start shooting people, you have the right to force that child into a hospital. Get them help. I know the medication sucks. I know being in an asylum probably isn't fun. But I'd rather one person who's a nutcase is locked up tight and not having a great day than these 12 families now that we're going to get to watch next week bury their young children who had everything ahead of them. A lot of these kids, I have a fear, are going to be college students. 18, 19, 20, 22, 24. Their whole lives ahead of them. And they're dead. Because this son of a bitch told people he was sick. And nobody listened. And it's time we all start listening. Because it is a sad day in America. And I hope some of these people in that caravan are listening. Because when you get here, if you get through, your kids can't go to school and be safe. Your kids can't go to church and be safe. Your kids can't go to a concert and not possibly get shot dead. You think your country was bad? Welcome to America. Because we deal with this shit far too often. And it's pretty sad when we have to tell our children not to go out with their friends to a bar, not to go to a concert, not to go to synagogue on Shabbat and pray. Because it's too dangerous. Because we are so afraid in this country to call mental illness what it is. They are a danger to our communities. And they need to be treated as a danger. I'm not saying lock them all in a cage and throw away the key. I'm saying they should not be able to buy guns. And the recent shooters have all bought their weapons legally. Why? We don't want to hurt their feelings by calling them mentally ill. You know what? I'd rather these nutcases get their feelings hurt than have to bury a child, have to bury someone I love for the crime of going to church, going to a bar, going to a concert, or putting a kid on a school bus and sending him to school. Let's hurt some feelings. You're not allowed to call fat people fat when they're trying to tell your kids that it's a good thing to be fat and get diabetes and heart disease. Bullshit. I'm sick of this political correct crap. Megyn Kelly gets fired because black people aren't allowed to dress like white people for Halloween and white people aren't allowed to dress like black people for Halloween. It's racist. And crazy people aren't allowed to be denied the Second Amendment of owning a firearm so that all the rest of us can enjoy our right to live, our right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, which is what these nutcases take away from us when they walk into our bars, our churches, our synagogues, and our schools and kill us. Their right to own a weapon, not to defend themselves and their family, but to massacre ours? Oh, I'm sorry. Our right to live and go out and have fun and go out and pray. I'm sorry, those rights trump their right to be crazy and own firearms. God bless the people of Thousand Oaks. God bless the family of that brave and awesome sheriff sergeant. God bless the wonderful young man who was so articulate and told of his experience just not even 24 hours ago. And he was out there talking about it, sending love to everybody. God bless the parents who have had the worst news today. And God bless the family of the shooter, because they're going to have to live with something much more powerful, much more heartbreaking than the families of the victims did. Because the families of the victims, they know that their children, their loved ones did nothing wrong. They were innocent. They can remember them with peace in their heart and love in their heart and good memories. The family of the shooter is going to have a much longer road, as they should, because I have a funny feeling they knew something was wrong and chose to ignore it. Or, unfortunately, there was nothing they could do about it. So we need to send a few prayers up for them too. They're the ones who made this monster. The Marines helped edge him along. And they have to live with this for the rest of their lives. And unlike the victims, who were totally innocent, their son is now a monster and will always be defined as such. I don't know if this show or anybody saying anything is going to change anything. Every time you talk about the Second Amendment, people lose their minds. But you know what? I'm okay with my beliefs on this. Sane, normal human beings should be allowed to own guns. People with mental illness who are a threat to our communities and our society, who ruin our way of life by just existing and being able to purchase these weapons, well, I'm sorry. The Second Amendment does not apply to you. And your families need to step up and do something about it. Have a good weekend, everybody. On a very sad note, Political Paula is out.